I'm García and it's good to see you. I'm here with my trusty Offi, which is a Swiss replacement for hot chocolate, and it's much better than hot chocolate, if you don't know. Perfect also because it's -degrees again, so winter doesn't want to let go. But I'm not here to talk about hot chocolate or weather. I'm here to talk about the books. I'm so late, so I haven't talked about my January books and I haven't talked about my February books. I was traveling for work, then I got sick, then I traveled again, then I got sick, then I was super busy at work, and yeah, here we are. Basically life happens. So yes, so I'm back now. I hope normal schedule-ish. I really would like to get out just one video a month, should be possible, right? Anyhow, so I'm going to have, I was thinking if I should do 2 videos and split it up, but I think I'll just do all books in this video just to catch up in one go. And then I will also go probably a little bit faster per book, but sometimes I get rambling, so if that happens, well, I can't help it. So I have 2 piles of books here with me. Ooh, hello. So these I will talk about, and then I also actually have my iPad with me because I read a couple of digital as well while I was waiting for new books to arrive between the 2 months. So I'll actually look here. Oh, and I also DNFed one, which I didn't put in the pile. So yeah, so let's see, let me see. This is then, yes, this is January. Yeah, exactly. So starting with book number 1, so 4 physical books that I read in January. So starting with the first one that I finished, which was The Belchar by Sylvia Plath. Story, now I don't remember, so because it's been a while I might not be very good in recalling. Esther Greenwood. Yes, so this is about Esther, and she, how to say that, it's like slightly struggling with some social anxiety or like mental health struggles in general. And basically we follow her, she has like an internship at this super fashion magazine, and they're like living large in New York. They're starting to feel like they're untouchable, they can do anything, and we just follow her along on things happening, and basically slightly in a kind of downward spiral kind of fashion, going out with the wrong people, meeting the wrong people, and to the point where, well, stuff gets difficult to handle. And then basically we get to read on how, like, she already slightly unstable, how that is going for her. There is very little like also suicidal thoughts in here, so a little trigger warning for that. It's not like extensively done, but it's definitely discussed. And yeah, I think that's all I want to say about that. Really, you need to read it, because anything else I would say would be basically spoilery. So that was the very first book that I finished in January. The second one is probably pretty well known. This is 100 Years of Solitude by Gabriel García. Gabriel García Márquez. I almost said Marcia instead of Márquez. García Márquez. I think, like I said, pretty well known book. So this is basically about like a village that is well, like we follow one of the founding families. They were like just wandering and made their own village. They just thought, okay, here's a river, here we're gonna settle down. They started building houses, and so we follow 100 years literally of that village. And as it says, of solitude, so they're basically like kind of away from the government, and like they govern themselves. They have their own rules. They have like no weapons in the beginning. And but yeah, like and then we just follow like different things happening in the family. Like there are these traveling nomads coming, and they're like showing like new technology and stuff like that, and they're like, oh wow, and they sell it as magic in the beginning, and then the further we go along, it's like technology such as at some point a photo camera is being introduced and things like that, and it's very interesting to follow along it. I did enjoy it for that part, and especially the mom. Again, now I don't remember her name. The mom of the family, like she's this never dying. She's basically alive for the full 100 years, and that is just. And so she's the mom, and then the grandma, and then the grandma, and things like that. And she's my absolute favorite. Like this woman, nothing can kill that woman. Like she's so strong and so powerful, and so even though in the beginning it was kind of weird because she had a literal chastity belt. So even after she was married, she did not want to sleep with her husband. But there, I think the reason was because of a superstition that when you would get a child in the jungle, that it could be born with animal parts. It's very cute. So they were worried that could happen. But unfortunately, I have a but. Where it didn't work for me, it had some really not okay stuff for me. So incest between brother and sister was one, where they just loved each other. There was like this guy, one of the sons falls in love with a 12-year-old or 13, not older, or even younger. No, she was younger, she was 10. And he's like literally in love, and then convinces the parents to marry, and they marry. And he's like, yeah, I will not sleep with her until she bleeds, but she bleeds at like 30. And it's just like, ugh, that's all of that is just so, ugh. And it was so difficult to read because it was written in a way as if that's a good thing. And everyone was saying, oh, she's such an angel, and then she also dies early. So spoiler, I guess. I probably will bleep that out in the edit. Whoops. No, but I'm just saying it because it really kind of affected me. And there's this poor woman that is like used as a whore. Like she starts off just being open, and then this one guy sleeps with her, and then in the end, basically she's just labeled the whore. And it's just so mean, and she even bears some of the children of our main family, and just the way she's treated, like she's nothing and things like that. I didn't like that, and oh my god, there's more that I now can't recall. So we had like really weird stuff, and then two who were not brother and sister, who I mean not by blood, who loved each other, but they lived together in the same family. When they fell in love, they were like cast out of the family. So it's, I don't know, it just had too many of these very awkward relationships. So I did not appreciate that, and I can't say it's a good book for me because of that. There was too much of that. The interesting part was the growing of the village, how it went through like different stages, if you will, how it got more modern, when suddenly the government and military turned up. Like, what do? Like I said, they didn't even have guns on their own, but then the whole, like, there was like basically civil war going on the president versus the rebels, and like where do they politically align. They tried to do a real like voting, but it was completely rigged and people who voted wrong were also suddenly not seen anymore, and like that stuff was super interesting. And like sometimes like you're, oh my god, like is that how some of it was happening in reality? That was very, very interesting, and I wish it had only focused on that rather than. And there was too much of it, and too much of it was also explained, and also like the details of some male thoughts, let's just say that, also not appreciating that. And yeah, I've talked too long about this. So I think I gave it 3 stars. I could actually see it now that I have my iPad. Yeah, 3 stars. Because like the other parts of the books were interesting, but there were like also these sections. Some sections also for me were too nothing happening. Like it's like, okay, when's the next thing actually? And because like basically we don't really have a golden thread, there's not a story here per se. There's just like there is this village, there's specifically this family, and they're around people, and we're basically going through their lives. So it's not like something where you can like think, oh, what happens next. It's like, for example, when we follow one of the generals and his campaign, then we are almost like in a short story about that person, and then we have like more that feeling of, oh, what comes next. But otherwise it's like difficult to see it as like one coherent story in a sense. I don't know if that makes sense. I can't explain differently. But so yeah, so that was 100 Years of Solitude for me. I still think it was worth reading, but I really, really wish many of the scenes I did not have to read, because they bugged me a lot and made me feel not good. All right, enough about that. After that, I read the second Sherlock Holmes. So, what's the second one? The Sign of Four. By Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. There it is. So this I really enjoyed. I also had really enjoyed the first one. I think the first one is now, how long ago is that? 2 years or something. Oh my god, I thought I would be faster reading these. I liked it. In the end I gave it 3.5 stars. So we have yeah, how much do you say? We have again obviously a murder mystery, and following well, first we start off with basically Sherlock Holmes being like bored, so we see like how he behaves when he's bored. So he's like doing drugs like there is no tomorrow, literally, in a very bad way. And from Watson, like, we can really see how worried he is about him, which, yeah, I understand, because that was just, because I remember even saying those 2 years back or whenever it was, one of the first impressions of Watson was, in his own thoughts, that this is a person who will not do drugs because he needs his mind. How wrong he was. And I remember saying in that review, it's like, oh yeah, I totally believe that, like, he's not doing it, maybe it's hinted at, but I don't think so. God, was I wrong. So he's doing heavy drugs, and only once he gets like this mystery, it starts by like a woman coming to him with a letter and a hint, and then, yeah, I don't want to say too much. I think it's very difficult with these mysteries. I think you just need to read it, and it's like things happening that seem disjointed, and then in the end everything kind of links together. So I did enjoy it. This one dragged a little bit more, and that's why I gave it a 3.5 star instead of a 4 star. So I had some sections in there where I was like, yeah, let's just move forward, please. But yeah, The Sign of Four, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, Sherlock Holmes #2, and was then the digital one? No, then came my DNF. So I DNF'd Regrettably, I'm About to Cause Trouble, by, who is it, Amie McNee. Could not read it. DNF'd is very fast. Supposedly to be period piece-ish inspired. It's like tries to imitate that language, but then we have like, oh, we're talking about my fucking pussy and things like that. And so it didn't take me long to, I was like, no, sorry, what are you? This is an abomination. So I couldn't even read it. It was like really weird, apparently, because a lady had a mole on her leg. They tried to paint over it, and then when she married this dude, they had the marriage night, because they put like wax on it in the end so he wouldn't see it. And then like she was disowned or got into trouble for that, and oh, but he can't do it because now he's married and he has to be, and the whole family hated her and was like this overly villainistic kind of way of treating. And no, nothing of that book was good at all, not even the language. Like I said, like very bad imitation. Wannabe period piece. I need to drink now. Immediately feel better. Okay, after that I did read digitally, and I read The Wonderful Wizard of Oz. So as probably many have, I've seen that, when is it, 90s movie? Yeah, I don't know, but I do mean like the old school movie in color, but it starts black and white when we're in Kansas, before she is whirlwinded away to the land of Oz. But yeah, so I read the book. That was the first time I read the book, and oh my god, it's so different. I had no idea. Like they hardly match. they're so very different, and we have like different adventures. Like the characters are the same, basically all of them. Yeah, basically all of them. There few others, like we have more like, because there's like these different inhabitants in like these different areas in Oz, and they all have like a different favorite colors, so they all dress in the same color. And if I don't remember now wrongly, I think in the movie they did just one mixture of all of those creatures there in the beginning when she lands with her house. So that is all the same. But then yeah, she also, the Yellow Brick Road is the same, so we follow the Yellow Brick Road. And and also meeting, like I said, the characters are the same, with the Scarecrow, the Tin Man, and the Lion, so they are all there. But then also we meet some mice and the Queen of Mice, and they help them and they help them, and yeah, and also meeting the Wizard of Oz is completely, as the wizard himself is very different, and also especially how she gets home in the end. And yeah, but it was very interesting. I think in some way I liked the book even better. Not because like this, oh, the book is always better, but, or maybe it was also because in a sense I got to read something new, because I didn't know what was gonna happen. And it's very cute. Obviously it's written for children, and it's not like, not at all brutal. Like even should I say that? That's kind of a spoiler. No, I'm not gonna say it. There are people who have never seen it. So even when she's sent on a certain errand to do something for Oz, maybe someone knows what I mean, there is apparently these evil creatures, and apparently this super evil witch. And even dealing with these is like more done in a sort of cute child kind of way. So I really enjoyed it personally. So, and this is in the public domain, so I read it on a public domain library website. The Wonderful Wizard of Oz. Who wrote it? I forgot to say that. L. Frank Baum. Okay, I'm not sure what L stands for. But yeah, and after that, still in January, so we're still January, I read Go as a River. And this is by Shelley Reed. So this is about, again, gosh, I forgot her name. God damn it. Victoria Nash? Is that her name? Teenager Victoria Nash, yeah. Victoria. It's funny because it doesn't ring a bell. But so she grows up on a peach farm with her parents, or actually her mom is not there, with her father and her brother. And it's like one of these small towns things, like everything is a routine, every day is kind of the same, and they're very known for the Nash peaches, are like the best peaches in the world, or especially in their area in the US. So they were like very well known, and like people drive from far to get Nash peaches once it's when the season is right. But like both father, grandfather, and especially brother, none of them are like especially nice to her. We know of some like cousins and other family members who had died, so she suffers from that, and she's like very shy and doesn't really stand up for herself. And then this one day, just completely randomly, she meets a stranger in the street just asking for direction, and then that becomes a thing. So they kind of just meet as soulmates. It's cute. It's not actually done stupidly, it's like done kind of cute. They also done immediately, like it's not like immediate like love at first sight kind of cliche, because I personally don't like those very much. It was done a little bit more subtly, even though it was, yeah, pretty much implied from the very first moment that they are sort of meant for each other. But of course, brother at some point sees them and tries to beat up the dude, but completely loses and gets beat up. But then he tries to bully him with some of his friends, and also he's a native Indian, so there's a lot of racism as well, and like lots of slur words for him and for her. Even being in contact with him, there's also this old lady that everyone shuns and says she's crazy, and because it's like the small town, like if you would talk to her, then you're the weirdo as well, and things like that. And in the end, basically, it's about how she still follows her heart, and then there's a child, and then there is trouble, and then how she gets through life. God, do I want to say that? This is so difficult. I don't think so. So but know that we start from her as a teenager, but all the way to her being an adult, and still like having this impact from what happened back then, and with the native Indian guy that she met, and what impact that had on her life, and things like that. So it's a lot about not just love, but also family love, and found family, and finding people and being friends, even if you're like very good at being alone and things like that, but how much alone is good. And yeah, I really enjoyed this one. It had a few rough, like a bit more dry patches in it, but all in all, I thought it was a really cool story. I need to keep opening. Sorry that I keep looking down, but my iPad refuses to stay open. I wish there was a mode you could just put in, but anyway, so this one I gave a 4 stars. I thought it was a really nice, good story, and also not very long, so definitely worth your time. Go at the river, eat some peaches. And that concludes January, is that correct? That is correct. Yes. Then the next digital that I read before I started my February reading was The Call of Cthulhu, H.P. Lovecraft, of course. So I read that one. That was my third H.P. Lovecraft. I have read The Shadow of Innsmouth. I've read At the Mountain of Madness, and now this was the third one, The Call of Cthulhu. Give it 4 stars. Super cool, interesting horror story. I had actually no idea how this one played out, but this is like basically someone following the research of, was it his uncle or dad, something like that, some kind of relative. So they had done the research, and like he goes like backwards and seeing what they figured out, and then also meeting other people who had researched like a certain area in the sea where people went lost and whole ships went lost, and in the end, what could it be? Maybe it was Cthulhu. So, and very well written, very like good mystery, and then when we come to the story from one who had survived like the boats getting lost, yeah, we get some more scary answers. So I enjoyed it. Very short, very, very cool to read. And then the next one was, I continued my Daphne du Maurier, and this time with Jamaica Inn, and now we're in February 2024. So this was my first February 2024 book. No, sorry, Call of Cthulhu was the first February, or I finished it in February. I started it at just the end of January and I finished it in February. So this is February book number 2, Jamaica Inn. So I said before, I read Daphne du Maurier, Rebecca, and Frenchman's Creek. They're right behind me, those two. They all have the same binding. And I love them. The Rebecca and the Frenchman's Creek. But, now comes but. Jamaica Inn wasn't for me. Not a big fan. I think I still gave it 3, so it's not like a bad story. Here we have a girl that's like living on a farm with her mom. After her dad died, like the mom did everything, but then eventually she gets sick and she's about to die, and she promises the mom that she will go to the mom's sister so that she doesn't have to like break her own body in a sense by managing a farm herself like she did, the mom. So so she does that. She goes to her mother's sister, who is then again, it's Mary, is it? No, the mother is Mary. Aunt Patience. What's her name? No, it is her. It's Mary. Sorry. So Mary goes to her Aunt Patience, who lives with her husband at Jamaica Inn. And Jamaica Inn is notoriously known for being a bad place, bad reputation, bad people. People suspect it like that bad business is done there, like crimes and stuff like that. So like and coaches, they don't even stop there. They would even refuse to let you out and stuff like that. So they really, really don't like it. But that all was fine. What I didn't like so much was more that it's very depressing, very negative. Aunt Patience is like this, basically reduced to a living being without a spine and without anything but whimpers and worries. sorry, it's very unkind to say that, but it's like really annoying. And also Mary thinks several times, if it wasn't for her aunt, she would just leave. Which is like what I screamed at Mary, is like, why is this book even happening? Like, cause like she gets from evening one, like basically mistreated by her I guess uncle-in-law, and he's like drunk and like violent, and clearly on Patience is afraid of him, but at the same time doesn't want to leave him, thinks she still loves him and stuff like that. So there's like this kind of weird thing there where I was like, what's wrong with that woman? And then it's just like constantly negative. There's no like happiness in this book. There's no like fun happening. So Mary goes like on many lone walks and trying to avoid the uncle, but then she can, and then she's also forced to work in the bar as a sort of a rent, if you will. And obviously the guys there are nice, and he's like, oh, they would devour you if you weren't my niece, and maybe I will let them. And it was just not very interesting to read. Like, it's like, okay, if you're in that bad of a situation, you have to get out of it. You have to tell the authorities. You have to do something. And the reasoning for not telling the authorities was because Patience couldn't take it. I don't know. But then obviously she still does try. She wants to do something. She wants him like to get caught in the act or something like that. And she sees like some of the smuggling operation that he's running. And so those were like maybe like the better parts, when she like sneaks to the house, and at some point she even like has to press herself into a corner in order for someone to walk past her and not see her. That like it had like these small moments of like, yes, this is Daphne du Maurier, this is what I like to read. But most of it was just dark, dreary, negative, depressing. Everything is shit. Why is still there? And to me, there was a shoehorned in sort of kind of love thing, which then ended up in nothing. So it was totally useless. I'm sorry. Not my favorite one. Language, fantastic though. I mean, like the language in and of itself, even though it was very sad and depressing. But other than that, I enjoyed that part of it. So that was Jamaica in book number 2 in February. And then book number 3 in February, and no, I'm not holding it on its head because you can see the text. So this is The Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson. So again, probably maybe a famous name. It's a Netflix series by now, and it has nothing to do with each other. Some of the names are the same. That's it. So completely different story. I was aware of that. So I wasn't like shocked or anything like that or disappointed. So here we have like several people. We start first with a professor who wants to sort of investigate this Hill House, because like it is said that it is haunted because like anyone connected with Hill House has somehow like gotten some misfortune, like family deaths and weird accidents and things like that. So this professor wants to like study the house and wants to like basically make a thesis about is it really haunted. And so he wants to stay there, and he invites like handpicked people that he like researched, and he did a lot of crazy shit. So the beginning is like all about that, on who he's inviting to come to Hill House in order to test it. And then, but basically from all of those people, we do have sort of the POV of all of them, but we have like our one main girl who is Eleanor. I'm sorry about that. Usually I remember much better, but again, this was in the beginning of February, so it's a whole month back, and since then I've read much more, so it's kind of not there anymore. At least I remember what happened. So Eleanor is basically the main girl, you could say, and very early on, like we're in her head, and she's like again a little bit like Mary, one of these people who never stands up for herself. She almost even did get the car that she shares with her sister, because it was like, no, we don't need it, but what if we need it? What if we have an emergency? And so basically she almost has to steal it in a way, because it's in like a public parking lot, and so she just goes there and takes it. But she does say to the sister, no, I will take it. And she says like, no, you can. And she says like, yeah, but I will. and then she leaves. So in a way it's not stealing, but yeah, so then she goes there, she stands up for herself. But then even before entering Hill House, we have the same caretakers as in the Netflix series, who are like, they're never staying after dark at Hill House and they live outside of it. And in the very beginning, he's like at the gate and he has it locked, even though the people are set to arrive. And he warns every single one of them to not come, to not go to Hill House, and to turn around. So he's trying to, well, save them, because he has seen the things they can do. And one of the guys that's also coming there, he's like, he will be the owner at some point. That's why he was invited. And then we have another girl who is God, what's her name? But she's like she's sort of represented in the story in the Netflix, but also not. It's the same name, but yeah, but not so much. But anyway, the two girls, they kind of hit it off. They almost become besties from the beginning, because when Eleanor arrives first, she's like super scared immediately. Like the moment she's inside, she feels like claustrophobic, she feels unwelcome, she feels unsafe. But then when the girl arrives, they kind of together hit it off, and like that. And then come the soon-to-be owner and the professor, and that's basically the group that's staying there. And early on, she likes the guy that would become, and so we're a lot in her head. And it's very interesting, because you have like then this female kind of challenging. So when the guy pays attention to the other girl, she's like, oh, that fucking bitch. Things like that. And so it's very interesting, because we follow in her head, and you can really like follow like how the things she says out loud in juxtaposition to what she actually thinks, which is almost never the same, and very often complete opposites. And that was very interesting. And basically she's slowly going mad, so we can like see the effects that Hill House has on her, and we as a reader realize that it's literally going downhill, and you're like screaming at her and hope she will wake up. And she starts to do more and more weird stuff. At some point, going up the winding staircase, we have that one in the Netflix series that is in the book described just to be like very scary and has no railings, so you could just fall off. So it's not so much about, because in the Netflix series there is a noose you could hang from. Here it's just the staircase itself that is apparently very scary, very unstable, and things like that. And so yeah, so then what happens once she gets to that peak point of mad, or is she mad, or can she be saved or not? So for that you have to read it. So I thought it was cool. I liked it. I gave it 4 stars. Was very cool, and again, actually a rather quick read. So definitely worth it. And again, if you've seen the Netflix show, this is still something new to you, so you can read this one. All right, already half an hour. I was hoping I would be done in half an hour. Oh well. It's I don't script these in any way, so yeah. So the last book that I read was the next, or chronologically, I think this is slightly newer, the next Switcher, which is Sword of Destiny by Andrzej Sapkowski. Loved it again. Did I give you 5 stars or 4? No, I did give it 5. Okay, I didn't remember. So again, we have like stories regarding Geralt of Rivia. Here we have a lot also together with Jennifer Wengerberg, and we even start with them together and living together and following a little bit along on how it goes between them, and then stuff happens and we get more monsters, we get more a lot obviously about Destiny. That's the namesake of the book, Sword of Destiny. If you've seen the Netflix series, so in the previous book we were once with Geralt of Rivia in Sintra, where he helped Duny, who was enchanted to have a hedgehog head, but he was actually human. And when he helped him marry his love, Pravetta, who was the daughter of the Queen of Sintra, then he took the law of surprises. So you give me that which you do not expect at home. and then Pavetta was pregnant. So basically it's then called a surprise child, and it's also said surprise child or destiny. Gabriel never had any intention of following up because he doesn't like the whole stealing a child to become a witcher thing. So he had no intention of following up, but throughout the book, also Yen, for example, people keep telling him, well, it's destiny, it's destiny, it's destiny, and he keeps fighting it. He's like, there is no destiny involved. And also more than once, like at some point he gets so badly wounded, he needs so many drugs and like these potions that witches take that are poisonous and will kill a normal human being. So he's like completely hallucinative and has like these weird visions / dreams / whatever happening in his mind. And also there it's like all about destiny, and it's like, and he imagines himself meeting Yen again, and it's like, do you believe in destiny? It's like, well, yes, but there needs to be something else. So then in a way I would say he almost starts to believe in destiny if there is something else, not just destiny, not just fate saying that now you have a surprise child, it needs to have something extra. And yeah, and then without like giving way, so it's not, again as before, it's not one coherent story from start to finish, but we have like bits and pieces where especially the destiny part comes back in, and then in the end, especially if you put it together with book 1, you start to see like more the story that is unfolding, that is happening, even though it's not told in that way, but like you will put it together. I don't know how else to explain it. So yeah, I don't think I can say much more than that. I really enjoy these. He's been very cute, especially with Yen. I love his and Yen's relationship, even though it is complicated, even though it is not going well. Yeah, I guess both, I would say, is probably the best way to describe it. But yeah, I enjoy it. I think it's very interesting. So The Witcher, Sword of Destiny. And I think that was all. That's done, all January and February books. Let me confirm. Yes, because then I started the next book in February, but I finished it 1st of March. So that will be in the March video, which hopefully will be the next one, and then we only do March. All right, so here we are. Oh. These are my let's see, can we see all of them? These are my January and February books. It sits still there for a moment. I can do like a loading icon. So my January and February books from 2025. And yes, sorry for my absence. I really want to do these videos once a month, so that is my goal. So hopefully until next month, take care, bye.